What if everything you built your life on was gone by tomorrow? You wake up to silence, the kind that doesn't just fill a room, but it crushes your chest. No kids laughing in the background, no job to clock into, no messages from loved ones, just emptiness. A void where your life used to be. You prayed, but the heavens are silent. You scream, but God don't answer. And worst of all, the people who once called you blessed, now they whisper that maybe, just maybe you had this coming. Maybe you weren't as faithful as you thought. Maybe you deserve this. And this isn't just suffering, but it's a reckoning. And that's exactly what Job faced. Not just loss, but the kind of pain that makes you question everything. And the hardest part, God allowed it. Now, Job wasn't just blessed, he was faithful. He feared God, he lived with integrity, and he did everything right. And yet behind the scenes, Satan was challenging Job's faith. He only serves you because you bless him. Take it all away and he'll crush you, he said. And God allowed the test not to destroy Job, but to prove his faith. Now let's bring this a little closer to home. What if your struggles aren't punishment, but proof? What if you're facing hardships not because you're weak, but because you're strong? You're strong enough to handle them. Think about this for a moment. Maybe you're dealing with a job loss, and no matter how many applications you submit, the doors just won't open. Maybe your marriage is struggling, and no matter how much you pray, things aren't changing. Maybe your health is declining, and you honestly don't understand why. Could it be that God is allowing this season to show you and everyone around you that your faith isn't built on the good times? See, faith that's only strong when life is easy isn't faith at all. True faith is tested. True faith is proven in the fire. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Maybe we need to ask, what is God proving through me? And Job lost everything in a single day. I mean, his wealth, his security, and worst of all, his children. One moment life was good, the next he was surrounded by loss. And that's exactly how life hits us sometimes, don't it? Maybe for some of you it was a phone call. I'm sorry, but the results came back positive. Maybe it was a conversation, I don't love you anymore. Maybe it was a moment, one accident, one tragedy that changed everything. And what do you do when your world falls apart overnight? And we love to say we trust God, but let's be real. Grief, anger, and confusion, they all hit first. And when we don't get an immediate answer, doubt creeps in. And Job had every reason to curse God, but instead he did something unthinkable. He worshiped. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. How do you respond when life takes what you love? Because truth is, faith isn't about praising God when things are good. It's about trusting him when everything feels wrong. And if losing everything wasn't enough, Job's his health started failing him. His body was in agony. And when he turned to the one person who should have had his back, who should have supported him, his wife, she told him to curse God and die. That sound familiar to somebody? Ever been in a season where the people you expected to hold you up only made the pain worse? Maybe you confided in a friend about your struggles and instead of support, they blamed you. Maybe you opened up about your pain and instead of listening, they gave you those same old cliches like everything's happened for a reason, you know. Maybe you needed encouragement and instead they pointed out everything you did wrong. And Job's friends, they did the same thing. Now at first they got it right. They sat with him in silence for 7 days, no opinions, no lectures, just presence. But then they started talking. Job, you must have sinned. This has to be God punishing you. You know, sometimes people don't know how to handle suffering, so they try and explain it, but explanations don't heal wounds. Compassion does. So here's the lesson. Be careful who you turn to in your Job season, because not everyone knows how to handle your pain. And on the flip side, if you know someone or if someone around you is suffering, learn from Job's friends. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to sit with them and say absolutely nothing. And Job didn't hold back his emotions either. He cried out to God, why was I even born? What I feared has come upon me. God, I don't understand. Have any of you ever been there? You trusted God and he let you lose the job. You prayed for healing and the sickness got worse. You fasted, you gave, you stayed faithful, and the breakthrough never came through. And let's be honest, sometimes trusting God feels like betrayal because we thought faith would protect us from suffering. But faith doesn't mean we won't struggle. It means we keep holding on, even when we don't understand. You see, Job was real with God. He didn't sugarcoat his emotions. And guess what? God didn't strike him down for it either. And that means that you can be real with God too. He's not intimidated by your questions. He's not disappointed by your pain. He'd rather your honesty than fake faith. So here's what I want you to know. God never abandoned Job, but he also didn't stop the suffering right away. And that's the part we struggle with. We want instant relief, but sometimes God lets the storm rage a little longer, not to destroy us, but to strengthen us. So if you're in a Job season right now, hold on to this. The enemy's attacks are limited, and Satan needs permission to test Job, and that means that whatever you're facing, God still has the final say. Your story isn't over. Job's suffering wasn't the end, and neither is yours. And the silence of God doesn't mean the absence of God. Just because he isn't speaking doesn't mean he isn't moving. So hold on, don't give up. God is still God. And this is just part one, by the way. Next time, we'll break down God's response because he does answer him. And what he says changes everything. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If this resonated with you, hit the like button and share it with someone who might need it. Let me know in the comments how you're trusting God in your season right now. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe and join me on this journey because where impossibility ends, God begins. Stay blessed.